Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It is the latest of our video calls where we've been chatting to everybody while we're all at home at the minute. I'm delighted to say from Korn and Love and Death, we got Brian on the line. How are you, man?
I am good. I am very good. Trying to enjoy the winter. Winter is my favorite time of year because in America, like we're obsessed with blankets and soft like material. And so I'm kind of like a woman in that way where I collect blankets and like, okay, I want this one because it feels like this today and whatnot. And so I'm trying to enjoy the cold.
At least that's an activity you can very easily do at home. Enjoy some blankets, shelter from the cold. That's not interrupted by all this madness at all. That's very, very nice.
Exactly. And not to get like, not to forget that I do have a busy life sometimes. This is just this week and next week, but then I have to fly over here and do this and fly here. I'm still flying. I've flown all year round.
Wow.
With COVID. I've been very careful. I've been, just certain things that we got going on and whatnot in business and music and stuff. So yeah, I've been very active, but my home time has been very, just really important because we travel so much, And so with all the negative going on, I've tried to focus on the positive with enjoying my life and my house and my home.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we've kind of started all these off by saying, of course, first of all, I hope you and your loved ones, you're all staying safe and staying well throughout all this madness. But it is a recurring theme I've noticed with all these conversations, particularly with a band like, obviously you've been with Korn for so many years now. You guys are relentless in your touring, particularly over the last couple of years. This probably is the longest time you've had at home in quite a long period, I'd imagine.
It has, I've been on the Korn train again. I left for a while, but I've been on it for another, 13.
Nearly a decade, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up, and it's probably 8 years. And so these guys I think it's Jonathan mainly. He feels at home on the road in his tour bus. What's the funniest thing? I go to his house and his house like looks like the road, like we're on the road. Instead of a dining room, like he'll have his game system set up, and he'll have his Sony PlayStation or whatever. He just likes his little routine, and I guess it's just like ingrained in us after doing it for so many years. We just but we're making the best of it. Like everybody in the band is doing really well.
That's good to hear, man. Good to hear. Well, I mean, case in point yourself, you've not stopped working, which is great to see. Let's talk about Love and Death, because this is the first record, full length at least, that you've put out in quite a few years. The obvious starting question, I suppose, is why now? What made you decide now was the right time to return to this project and start making new music for it again?
Well, we've actually been working on it for the last 5 years.
Wow.
But it's not, okay, let's rephrase that. It's not been every year, all year round. Right. It's been little spots here, like a week here, a week there since 2015, and just not really in a hurry to do it. And then me and Jason Rao, who's in Breaking Benjamin, we toured with Korn, Breaking Benjamin right before COVID. It ended March 1st, actually. So we were like, finally, we're going to get on the road. Let's finish this record. We didn't do one thing on the road together because Breaking Benjamin's in a different city on days off than Korn, almost the whole tour. And then, Jason starts getting ready at 4 p.m. They go on at, the prime time, like whatever, 7 o'clock or something. And then we go on at 9, and I'm like showering at 1 a.m. Jason's like in his bunk going to bed. And so it just didn't work out. But, with the free time this year, we were able to get it together, and just bringing in another guy from, Breaking Benjamin, Keith Wallen, who does guitar and some vocals in Breaking Benjamin, and then Joe Rickard co-produced it with Jason Rao, and that was Joe worked on our first record with us. So, but Joe has finally like reached his a high level of like mixing, and he's working for Howard Benson, who does that's just a huge discography, and so Joe has really stepped up, and he really helped us with this project. So everything just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you know, like you said, there's been little spots through the last few years then, I suppose. When it came to this downtime you had now, enforced downtime, I suppose, where you're finally able to complete the record, how much was there going in? How much did you discover in the studio, but how many ideas were actually there kind of set in stone for you guys to really hit the ground running with?
That's a great, it's a great question. I thought we had the record almost finished, and then, you know, leave it to Joe Rickard. By the way, he used to play drums in the band Red and In Flames.
Right.
And so he's just doing producing and mixing and stuff now. But Joe comes in and says, "Yeah, let's throw away these 3 songs. Those aren't good enough." And I'm like, "But I love this song, you know." And there was a part my daughter actually wrote on one of the songs, and he's like, "Don't worry, we'll take that part and put it in another song, but no, we can't use these." And so I had to swallow my pride. And then we wrote 3 more songs during the COVID, you know, stay-at-home order, and we were sending files back and forth, and we all collaborated on it. And so, yeah, we had about 6 or 7 songs that we from the past, but the other ones, the rest of them were brand new.
Wow. So what was that moment then that your daughter wrote? I've got to ask about that. What song was it intended for? That, I guess, was that a scrapped one? And then where is it ended up in the end?
Oh, the song was called Carousel before, and I liked it. I wrote most of it, and so I'm just honest, you know, I'm just honest. I wrote most of it. I loved it. You know, sometimes when you write stuff and you have so much invested into it, you seem to think more of it than it actually is. And so you got to hold on loosely to songs, you know. That's why everything works with bands and whatnot, having different members and then the producers. That's why we have all these collaborations, because, you know, we can't do it on our own. You know, some can, very few can, but we need a collaboration effort. But so, yeah, it was a song called Carousel, and we actually used my daughter's part and brought it into a song called, I'll have to look it up. I'm still learning the names of the songs because they're such new songs, but we used her part for that new song. So, yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, it's early days. You got time to learn the titles. That's all good, man.
Exactly.
Exactly. Plenty of
Here
time.
it is. Wait, that's not it. Wow. Okay, keep going. I'll find it one day.
Well, I guess, well, let's talk about some of the other records that are out there that people have already heard, because lead single was Down, kind of big, very appropriate lead single, really. I think sets the tone for the record as a whole, and really kind of a great re-entry point for you guys. Just tell me a little bit about writing that track in particular, and I guess why you chose that to be the lead single, the kickoff, welcoming back Love and Death.
So the song was Slow Fire that we put my daughter's part in. It's a new song called Slow Fire. Down came after Carousel, and a couple other songs got shafted and put in the garbage. Down was, I believe, the second one that Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin and Joe, they just wrote a skeleton track, music. And maybe a couple, maybe a humming a verse or something like that, and a chorus. And they sent us like a minute and a half little idea. And I was like, 100% yes. And it's funny because these guys are so talented, man. And they send it and they're like, "Is this any good? Are you feeling this at all?" And I'm like, dude, yes. I saw the vision of the whole song right when I heard this little snippet. And so it's just crazy. And Keith Wallen did that with the opening track. Keith 100% wrote the piano and the vocals and the lyrics for the opening track. It's an intro track. It's like a minute and a half or a minute or something like that. It's called Perfectly Preserved. Or no, it's called Infamy. I'm sorry. The record's called Perfectly Preserved. But there's a line that says Perfectly Preserved on this intro song called Infamy. And that's where I got the title name from. And he sends it to Joe, and he's like, "Dude, I don't know. Is this any good? I can't tell." And we hear it, and we're just like, "Dude, you're such an asshole. This is so amazing." So yeah, I mean, that just articulates how important Keith and Joe and it were to the project with all the rest of us.
Yeah, really nice collaborative effort throughout, from what I've heard for sure. And I want to mention as well one of the more recent singles that people will have heard, which is White Flag. What's interesting about that as well, even though it's quite subtle and only in little places here and there are some bigger electronic influences in there as well, which is something I think you've been able to experiment with quite a bit in this project, at least a little bit in terms of production or little breakdowns here and there. What are the inspirations in terms of that? You know, we know you for heavy music, we know where you sit in that world, and that's all present correct. But electronic wise, what are you kind of drawing from to bring in those little elements here and there?
Man, I love melody. I love beauty in music, you know. I love strings. I can sit and listen to instrumental music. There's a artist named Hammock, Hammock. They have all instrumental music, atmosphere music, and it's I love that stuff. So if there's electronic music going on, I love to have beautiful melody with it, you know, most of the time. And so I've always loved electronic music since it came out. Dude, I'm an 80s kid, you know? And so I wouldn't tell my heavy metal Iron Maiden friends, but I would listen to, you know, all these bands like The Cure and Pet Shop Boys and all these other like new wave bands, and I'll not tell any of my metal friends. I loved it so much. And so electronic music is really cool to throw into the Love and Death mix. And I love it on White Flag, because White Flag is so hardcore, and it's just like, by the way, that song, Joe tried to throw that away about 15 times.
No.
And I'm like, no, I love this song. We've had it for 6 years. I'm like, no. And he's like, dude, it's not on the level as the other songs. And I'm like, we're going to save it. I love this song. He's like, you know, it's your record. Basically, you know, it's your record. And I'm like, but he's doing it in a way to try to put thoughts in my mind like, yeah, he's right. This song's not as good. So I kept trying. I threw away the verses. He was right, because the way it was before was not good. I came up with the screaming vocals and wrote the verses to that, and the bridge and the bridge, the 5 4 3 2 1 bridge thing and everything. I came up with all that, and it made it better. And so I saved it at the last minute. But yeah, I forget where I was going with that. But
No, I'm glad it was saved. It definitely works as a single, man. Glad that one was saved for sure. And of course, you know, you're sort of planning this live stream event, right, as well with Love and Death. That's going to be the kind of next stage of this, I guess, at the time of recording, at least. And what I found really interesting chatting with everybody over this last year is how every single band that's done the live stream thing, they're completely different. I've not seen anyone do something that's really similar. Everyone's approached it from different angles, had something for their own fan base in there. What's been your kind of approach in starting to set this up? And have you seen any other live stream events where you've thought, oh yeah, that really impressed me, something like that would be cool?
yeah, so we're still coming up with the ideas for it. And when we get into the room, you know how things will evolve and change as we look through the cameras and whatnot. So which one I really loved was the Under Oath. You know, the Under Oath, I mean, they just hit it out of the park. They pretty much like got everybody excited, I think, about doing live stream. And you know, so yeah, we have some ideas. We're gonna get some cool lighting. We're not gonna set up in a traditional way. I would like to look at the guys and see them, you know, since there's no crowd. I want to feed off my guys. And so we're trying to plan on something to where we can see each other, like face each other in some unique way. And another thing is we have some guests that we're trying to get to come, and you know, there's COVID, and COVID just doesn't seem to want to go away that easy, right? And so we're hoping that we can bring in, I think we're going to over invite. And so we'll get at least, you know, 3 or 4 people out of 6, maybe, I don't know. And we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, we're coming up with some very unique things, and we're really working hard on it. So we're hoping the tickets are $15, and we're hoping that a lot of people can join us. I know Love and Death has been, you know, it's not the hugest band, and we've been gone for for a while, but this record really is a step up, and I would love for people to come and see what we're doing now, you know.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm glad to see bands kind of taking that mantle and trying to do really interesting stuff with these live streams. It's always cool to see. So we'll look forward to that one for sure. And in terms of, you mentioned earlier, you managed to get through most of what you guys wanted to do with that The Nothing era. You had the album release, you got to do a load of touring with it. How do you reflect on that last Korn release now that it's a little bit in the rear view, a little bit of time away from it?
My God, man, it's crazy because we didn't really get to tour the record, you know. It came out, we had one tour, and then we got shut down with COVID, and it's just crazy looking back on the record. It was a very bittersweet record, you know, because we were really excited to work with Nick Raskulinecz again, and we were gaining a lot of headway writing music with Nick and working in Los Angeles and Nashville, Tennessee, in the States. And then we had the unfortunate news. I was at my house in Indiana. I had a condo then at the time, and I got a call from our manager that, you know, Jonathan's ex-wife passed away. And so that was right in the middle of the record. And so the record just took a different turn. I think there's a lot of music written, and Jonathan's always last. He wants us to paint the picture of the art, you know, on the canvas is as bright as we can with the finishing touches musically, so that he can feel it, so that he can go in and just, he likes to wait until the last minute, you know. But that record was really like, I mean, talk about therapy. And he was like, we were like, do you need time? Do you need time off? We actually did a short run of 3 shows weeks after that happened. And we were like, do you need time off? Do you want to push the record? He said, no, I need music. I need this music. And so, like, in good and awesome Jonathan Davis fashion, he opened his heart, let everybody in, and wrote a really powerful record. So reflecting back on it, I just think it's very intense, and it's very there's just a spirit of like grieving on it, you know. But it's a very special record. I think it's going to go down in history as just a very special record about grieving, you know. And so we're very proud of it. We wish we could have toured it more. You know, I remember being at that one of the last shows. Our management came out in Portland, Oregon last end of February. Chino and his family came out from Deftones because they lived in Oregon, and we were just all talking about, you know, I was actually sick that day, and everybody was running from me because they didn't want to get what I had. I might have had COVID. I don't know, because I felt weird. But we were just like, what's going to happen, you know? Did you hear about this thing coming? It's in Seattle or somewhere in Washington. It's outbreaking, and it was the beginning of COVID. And so that's it. And we couldn't tour our record, you know, since then. We only did one tour. So, you know, but we're very proud of the record, and we got some big plans coming this year. We're going to announce. We've been, like I said, I've been flying all over the place, you know, and seeing the Korn guys, and we have some really exciting news coming this year. So our fans are gonna be ready to do some cool stuff with us this year.
That's very exciting to hear. I know you won't want to give anything away big style there, but I take it, has some writing been taking place by any chance in these more recent months?
I mean, just a lot of stuff's been going on, yeah, you know, and so. But yeah, we're trying to come up with just some unique things. I know a lot of people are going to come out with new music because it's like you're stuck at home, and you know there's nothing else to do but write music. So it's pretty obvious that people are working on music, and we're just gonna, you know. But we're coming up with a lot more cool ideas than just music, man. We're just really brainstorming about how we can do something new and fresh, you know, because we've been around so long, and you know you got bands like Tool, System of a Down, or these other bands that they go away. Even Disturbed was gone for like 5 years, you know. Breaking Benjamin was gone 4 years or something. Korn is always just gone, you know, or go, I should say. And so we're really just regrouping and trying to come up with something fresh and new for 2021 and beyond to just make it exciting again, man, because we're still excited. And so we want to make things exciting for our fans and just have a good time, you know? So we'll be announcing something pretty soon.
It's exciting to hear. No, that definitely sounds like some positive stuff for the year ahead. And, you know, again, we don't know when live music is going to be coming back. I'm trying to remain positive, and currently it's still on the calendar, would be Download Festival over here in the summer. And, you know, whenever that does happen, you guys are obviously on the bill there. I think it's with like System of a Down and Deftones playing this year and all this kind of stuff. A festival that you guys have played so many times over the years. I just wondered if you could speak a little bit on what's the importance of, I guess, that event and Donington, and I suppose UK crowds in general. They've always been so good to you guys, right?
My God, yeah. I mean, if you would have asked me when I was like, you know, 30 years old, 28 or 29, whatever, and we were doing those big festivals that, you know, all these years later, you know, I left Korn for a while, got my life together, and to come back and be able to still do this stuff and to see the passion for the music and all the fans just being so loyal and feeling that connection with all these bands out there that play those festivals. It's really a dream come true beyond what I had. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible. And it just shows how meaningful that music over the last few decades, not only ours, but the Deftones and the Slipknots and the System of a Down and all these other bands, how important they were to people, you know, and just to keep celebrating it together and to be able to play for all these people. And it's just mind blowing. And I mean, the word that I have for 2021 is grateful, even though there's all this chaos going on and, you know, America's been hit hard with political unrest and racial injustice all over the world. Plus, you know, just the pandemic, we were hit like worse than anybody, or one of the worst. I still feel very grateful about where we're at and for having all these people that still love heavy music. And, you know, and I believe that we're going to come out of it. Guess what? We're going to come out of this, all of us, for an appreciation for live music in a way that we've never had. We may have taken it for granted. You know, there's so many festivals all over the world that we can just go to here, we can pick and choose and do that. Now it's going to be like a thing where, and I hope it lasts a long time, that all of us in the bands and in the crowd are just going to be like, look at this gift we have. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm hoping for.
It is a gift, man, and we're very much looking forward to it. And, you know, I'll leave you with that, Brian. Thanks for chatting, man. Really appreciate it. Best of luck with the new release, and we will see you in the UK whenever that's allowed. We really hope it's going to be sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, yeah, just love to you and the guys, and stay safe out there, all right?
All right. Thank you, man. We can't wait. We'll see you then.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Brian, everybody.